Hello, I'm Mitchell Bennett, and today I'm going to be talking to you about improving handicap parking spots for amputees. Handicap parking spaces should have different locations and designs depending on whether you're a handicapped individual or a person that has difficult walking. Have you ever taken notice of handicap spot spaces? Until recently, I just thought they were for old people in wheelchairs. Now I know better. 3 years ago, my mom lost her leg when she was hit by a car. Since then, handicap spots have become important to my family. Handicap parking spaces should have become locations and designs depending on whether the handicapped person is in a wheelchair or has trouble walking. A couple of points where most handicapped spaces are located near ramps for wheelchair usage. Also, oftentimes handicapped spaces are far from store entrances, and handicapped spots needs to be designed for people with mobility issues that don't use wheelchairs. Most spaces are located near ramps for wheelchair usage. According to the Department of Justice, an accessible route never has curbs, never has curbs or stairs, must be at least 3 feet wide and become firm, stable, slip-resistant surface. Here are some couple of pictures of handicap spots around campus. The first one is at the baseball fields, where multiple people park for extra space since Torrington has not a lot of spots. And the other spot is right at the horticulture center, where you gotta walk about 300 feet to get to the building. You can see they have ramps right next to them. Not everyone who has mobility issues needs ramps. According to Sokofeet in Berkeley, lower limb amputees have difficulties walking up and down inclines. Because of stairs and steep inclines, these require us to have handrails. They are better options for lower limb amputees than mobility ramps. Handicap parking spaces are found nearly every public building, but how accessible are they from amputees? Oftentimes, handicapped spaces are far from store entrances. Handicap parking spaces are supposed to be located near an accessible route leading to a building's accessible entrance according to the ADA National Network. Looking at these pictures, you can see a level access path, and these paths leads entrance to accessible. The law fails to mention that these paths need to be short for those with mobility issues that do not need a wheelchair. Like my mom, she doesn't need a wheelchair because she uses her prosthetic leg, but she does need a short, straight path to the building, otherwise she gets tired out. And not having an accessible route often forces my mom to use a wheelchair. These limits our ability to travel alone because her chair is too heavy for her to manage. Also, handicap spots have to be designed for people with mobility issues that don't use wheelchairs. Currently, handicap parking spaces must have access area 5 feet wide next to the space, according to the United States Access Board. There have been times when my mom has parked at regular parking spots in order to be close to a store entrance. My mom needs room to get out of her vehicle with her prosthetic leg. Many spots just for people who struggle to walk need to be located at main entrances of buildings. It does not matter how far the wheelchair can travel in order to get to the entrance. Spots can be labeled as walkers with assistance spots or wheelchair-only spots. In conclusion, a lot have done to improve the quality of life for handicapped people, but more can always be done. Handicapped spaces should have different locations and designs depending on whether the handicapped individual is in a wheelchair or has difficult walking. Also, most spaces are located near ramps for wheelchair usage. Oftentimes, handicapped spaces are far from store entrances, and handicapped spots never needs to be designed for people with mobility issues that don't use wheelchairs. As in the case with my mom, you never know, you might need a handicap spot. I hope you will think about this and will never have to go through this.